For this lab, we are going to create this drawing down here. There are 3 different parts in order to do this, or 3 different parts of the lab. So part 1 is creating this hips drawing. It's going to look like this, okay? And then part 2 is going to be creating this plot plan drawing, right? And then part 3, we are actually going to first draw a pathway so we know actually where to insert our hips drawing. And then we'll use external references to actually insert the plot plan. And I'm going to hide the dimensions layer. Oh, also it's important to note that you can see that it says jbergman_m9 lab, blah, 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 dimensions. Because it has the drawing name in here, we use the insert method of external references instead of the bind method. Okay. So if you look at the instructions, you'll start with part 1, and you are going to do part 1 on your own. So make sure to do this before completing this video. You'll save the DWG file as username_m9lab_hips. And then you'll format your units, create 2 layers, create a dimension style called a hip, go through the instructions here. And then the last thing you'll do is actually draw these objects here. When drawing this, you're going to have to use some assumed geometries. So if we look at this triangle in the bottom right-hand corner, we'll assume that these are equal. Okay, these 2 sides of the triangle are equal. This is 45 degrees. Therefore, this is also 45 degrees right here. This is essentially the same equivalent line as this. So same length, same angle, just at a different location. You'll assume that this line is also the same angle here. And then, let's see. And then when drawing this part, this will have the same angle as this line, and then you'll use this angular information right here to draw this, and then where these 2 lines intersect, you can use trim to actually trim the excess of these 2 lines. Over here, you'll use the same angular information, so these are equivalent, or mirrored essentially, 45 degrees. This is that same angle over there. These 2 lines are equal, and therefore, right? And then after you draw the objects, you'll have to dimension them. So here are all the dimensions. It should be pretty straightforward, besides this 225 degree angle. Instructions on how to dimension that angle are on the next page. So go to this page in order to complete that angle there. And then here's part 2. So we're actually going to do parts 2 and 3 together, okay? Because part 1 doesn't have any new information. You should be able to complete all of that on your own, but part 2 and 3 are new. So we'll do those together. So essentially you should be here at this point, okay? You should have this drawn, and then we are going to draw the plot plan. So we're going to go to New, Imperial, feet and inches, okay. We're going to save this drawing as our username _assignment name, which is m9lab_plotplan. Save. And then we are going to format our units. So I'm going to start typing units. This is my dynamic cursor, which will, if I hit enter now, it will actually, do the command units instead of, you could type it in the command prompt as well. Anyways, for length, we're going to use architectural. We're going to use that precision, the default. And then for angular, we're actually going to use surveyor units. And precision is going to be this 3rd option right here. Then we're going to hit OK. We're going to go to layer properties and insert 2 new layers. So the first one is going to be dimensions. which is going to be blue. Okay, and the second one is going to be PlotPlan, which is going to be white. And just so you know, it's going to be this color right here. It's showing up as black because we have this white background. So it's going to be black. So hit that and click OK. So it's white. We're going to exit out of that. Then we're going to create a dimension style. So go to Format, Dimension Style, New. You guys should all know how to do this now. We're going to call this PlotPlan. And then our starts with fit. So we're going to change this to 240 scale. Then we're going to go to text and we're going to change, let's see here, aligned with dimension line. And then we're going to go to symbols, arrows. It's going to be closed fill. Okay, that's all correct. We want a mark. We want 1/8. See here. Okay, all of that is already correct. Our lines, see, we're going to suppress our dim lines. And then we're going to suppress our extension lines. And then primary units, going to be architectural. And then the 1/32 option. And then down here for units, we're going to do degrees, minutes, seconds. And precision is going to be that, the 4th option right here. Okay, yeah, those two are the same, so just, that's good. Okay, and then we're good with that. Then we're going to click OK. Make sure that's your current layer, PlotPlan, or dimension style. Okay. Now we're going to do close. Okay. Now we are going to step 5. We're actually going to draw the objects. We want to make sure we activate the PlotPlan layer. And then, let's see. So for that, we're first going to draw the outer lines, and then for the inner lines, we're just going to use offset and change the line type scale to phantom. So let's draw our lines using our surveyor units, and we're going to use our polar coordinates as well. So we're going to go to line. I'm just going to do 0, 0. I don't even know where that is. Okay, there we go. I'm going to turn on my ortho mode because it's going to be a straight line. And this is going to be 150 foot, 2 inches. Enter. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out. Oh. I don't know where my little, okay, I'm going to escape because it's not allowing me to zoom right now. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to draw the other line, and this one's going to be from that point, it's going to go straight up by 175 feet and 3 inches in the north direction. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to turn off my ortho mode. And then this one is actually going to be north, the 88 degrees, and then west, if you look at the instructions. So it's going to be northwest by those dimensions there. In order to draw this one, we actually have to turn off our dynamic input. Okay, and so dynamic input is this right here. So just click on it, this icon. Let me try to increase the, okay, so it should look like that right there. So click on that to turn it off. And then you are going to go into here and start typing what the instructions say. So our next point is going to be at 177 feet dash 4 inches is less than, remember the polar coordinate, first you do the length, which is the 177 feet 4 inches, and then you type in the angle after the less than sign. So our angle is going to be north, or N88, D 30 feet 16 inches west. And then you are going to hit enter. That should give you that line. Then let me, okay. And then our last line, we can just connect it there. So now we are going to draw the interior phantom lines, and we can just use offset to draw those. So we'll use offset. Okay, specify offset. Oh, my dynamic input is off, so I'm going to turn it back on. I was wondering why it wasn't showing me next to my cursor. Okay, so my first offset distance, we'll do the 30 feet. Enter. And we're going to grab this line right here. Okay, and then I'm going to escape and do that again. The next one's going to be 10 feet. Enter. And we are going to offset these lines. So these are side yards over here. And I'm not sure what this is designated for, but the building starts, you know, oh, this part's gonna be our driveway. Okay, so maybe this is some grassy area in front of the building. Now we're gonna trim. We're gonna right click to select all objects, go through and trim everything. Just gonna use these little box selects because it's easier to get the lines. So now all of that is trimmed, and we want to make sure to add or change these to phantom lines. So we're going to select these interior lines. We're going to go to these properties, click on the one next to line type, go to other. We're going to load, go down to phantom, click on phantom, okay. Make sure that these lines change successfully. I don't think they actually did, so I'm just going to select all the lines again and change them to phantom. Right. And then the last thing is that the lines actually we need to change the line type scale so we can actually see the line. So we're gonna expand our properties. And where it says line type scale, we're gonna change this to 100, enter. So it really scaled them bigger so we could see them. We're like a bird looking down at this building, so we can actually see the phantom lines. And that is all for our objects. So now we are going to actually dimension and annotate our drawing. So let's do that. I'm going to hit escape. And then let's see, I'm going to change my layer to dimensions. I'm going to go in here and let's see, I will go to annotate tab. Okay, make sure PlotPlan is the current dimension style. And then I'm going to just use my smart dimension. So click dimension. And then click, click. Okay. And we shouldn't see the angles yet. there, escape. And then we are going to add the fields so that we can actually add the surveyor units to our dimensions. So let's go in here and just double click on the dimension. I'm going to move or hit the left arrow so that we're on the left side. I'm going to hit space so you can see, and then left arrow again. Then we are going to see here, add a field. So go to field. This should pop up. Then we are going to go to object on this one, find object over here. Okay. We are actually going to click on the select object and select on this line. And then we are going to click on the surveyor units right there. And then precision, you can use current precision or you can change this. And click OK. So we'll have east there. And I'll do Control Enter because that one is done. Now I clicked on this next one here. To edit this one, I would hit space and then go over here. We're going to do the exact same thing for all of these. So go to field, object, select object, which is going to be this line, then surveyor units with that precision, click OK. Shove in north, Control Enter to move on to the next one. Or if you hit close text editor, you'll just double click on the dimension again. So I'll click that, hit space, field, object, select object. We want this line, angle, surveyor units. You can also do different things like length. So if you have a dynamic length, that might be nice. So it'll automatically show you the length of that line, even if it changes, the color, all of these different things you can actually have as fields, which are variables. So depending on what that field actually is, the angle of this line, it will automatically change that variable or field to the correct angle. Okay. Then we'll click OK. And then we have one more. Yep, that's all right. And then Control Enter. Click on this one. Same thing, arrow to the front, space. Okay, field. We're going to do object, select object is going to be this line, then surveyor units, okay. And then Control Enter. Okay. And then I'm going to hit Control Enter again to be done with those dimensions there. Now I'm going to add in the annotations. So let's do this top one right here. We're going to use multi-line text, which is first corner. You're just drawing in that box there. And we're going to change this to 10-foot setback. Control Enter. And it looks like the dimension disappeared. It's actually because our dimension is really, really small. I'm zooming in, so I'm going to click on it. I just need to change the height of the dimension. So we can actually go to text style. Let's go to that. Standard is fine. What should we try here? Maybe let's do 7 foot, apply, close, okay, and then we'll click on this one because we have to update it, click on that one, or you can delete it and go click standard, and you can see that it is bigger now. Open that. I think that might be a little large actually, so I'm going to change this to maybe 5 feet, apply, close. I need to click on it to update it, click standard. Did I not update it successfully? close. Okay. And then okay. Hey, look at this. Oh, the text height is 5 foot, so 3 foot. Okay. I'm doing 3 foot. Yeah, that looks like it's good. The 3 foot right there. I'm gonna move this. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to change my text style back to 3 foot, just so everything's consistent. And I'll rotate everything at the end. So I'll do another multi-line. And this one's going to be 10-foot side yard. Control Enter. Okay, and then we're actually going to go to Home, rotate, specify base point. I'm going to keep that as my base point, and I will just rotate this, so click where it looks like it's approximately the same, and I'll click on this and use the grip to actually move it in the correct spot. If your object snaps are on, see right now it's going to snap to where that object snap is, so you might want to turn them off really quickly. Okay, so put that there. And then I'm going to rotate this just a bit. I know that's being very picky, but that's oh, my object snaps aren't on, so I just randomly selected base point. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, and then for this one, I'm actually going to just use Control C, Control V to copy and paste and move this over here. Let's see, like in the middle there. And then I'll use rotate to specify base point. I want to keep that point stationary. And then I'll rotate this so that it is in between there. And then we have one more multi-line text. So annotate, multi-line, draw in your text. And then this is going to be 30-foot building line. Close text editor. And then you can actually click on here. And if you're not able to move it as much, just zoom in, and this will give you more flexibility on precision of where placement of the annotation. So we completed that. And the last thing we need to do for part 2 is insert our compass using the Design Center. So in the lecture, there are multiple ways to do that. One way was to type in Add Center. Okay. Oh. I'm going to close out Properties. Sorry. Okay. Add Center. Enter. And this will pop up, or you can hit Control 2 on your keyboard. That will pop up, or the other option was you could go to View, and then you have this Design Center icon right there. So those are the different ways. This is what you'll see. You can see these are different folders that you can expand or open on your hard drive. Okay, so this one's in the Autodesk hard drive, AutoCAD, because that's what we're using. Under Sample, and then our ENUS. And so then we'll double click on Design Center. We want to go to the landscaping type category. I want to insert a block. You can do all of these different things too. So say you're at a company and you create different, standardized layers or default dimension styles that are standard to the company. You can actually save them in something like this and then open them. So, but we're going to open up a block. We're going to insert this compass right here. So there's different ways that you can do this. You can drag and drop, or you can right click and hit Insert Block. Okay, and this will pop up. We want our scale to be 10, but okay, so all of this is good right now. We're gonna do specify scale, specify on screen, okay. For our insertion point, I'm going to exit out of that, and then I'm going to place it somewhere over here. And then, because I said I was going to specify the scale on the screen, the scale is going to be 10, enter. Y scale 10, enter. Okay, so I kept it the same shape, so I did 10 and 10 for both of them. I'm just going to show you guys a different way to do that as well. So if I do Control-2 on my computer, I can use drag and drop as well. So I just clicked on it, I'm dragging it into my drawing and clicking it in. Going to minimize that. We can actually click on this and go to Home and Scale, and then our base point, I mean, it doesn't matter, just click there, and you can type in 10 there. And then you can actually just click on here and move it into the right place. But we already have 2, so I'm just gonna hit delete for that. And we don't need our design center anymore. And I'm hit save. And that's all for the plot plan. Now we're moving into part 3. So we're going to create the pathway. The instructions say to put the pathway on the plot plan layer, but if you do it this way, I'm actually going to create a new layer called pathway, and either way I'll accept. So if you decide to put on the plot plan layer or create this new layer called pathway in white, okay, that's okay too. So I'm going to activate my pathway layer. And then I'm going to go in here and draw it. Okay, I'm gonna have to reference the instructions here on the dimensions. So first I'll draw a line. Okay, I'm gonna turn my running object snap back on. So right here, it's gonna be orthogonal. So I'm gonna turn on my ortho mode and draw it down to here is okay. Then I'm going to go to offset and do 12 feet, enter, and offset, select object, and we want to offset that and click right there. So now we have that. Okay, so then the line up is going to be the same length as our hips. So if you look at the drawing, you can see this is going to be 25 feet here. Okay, let me pull up the instruction, or well, I can just show you once we complete it. But the bottom of our hips is touching this building line right here. So we know from here up is going to be that 25 feet. So I'll do line up. It's going to be 25 feet, enter, and then to the right, 30 feet, enter, and then it's going to be down 17 feet, okay, and then I'm going to hover over that and move my mouse up to snap into place. In order to do that, you have to make sure your this is on right here, the snapping reference lines. You can hit F11 to turn it on if it's not on. So all I have to do is, hover over there and move my, hover over this point and move up. There we go. And then down, escape. All right, then I'm gonna use a fillet. So fillet, we're gonna hit radius down here. It's gonna have a radius of 10 feet, enter, and then click, and oh, it's too large for that one right there. Okay, so let's see here what's going on. We're gonna go to this tan radius. Okay, click there, 10 feet. Okay, so we'll use that method there. Oh, it's because this line, I see, this line ends. These aren't joined, which is why our fillet wasn't working, because this one wouldn't be able to give us, you know, this radius right here, which is why we had to use that. So we'll go to trim, right click, and trim this, and then we'll trim that line, and we'll actually just delete, or we have to trim this little area here, then escape, and we will click that one and delete that line. All right, so we have that, and I'm actually just gonna click on that line and delete it because that was a reference line. So we have our pathway here, and you can go in and dimension it if you'd like. You don't need to dimension it. And then we are going to add our external reference of our hips. So I'm going to go into hips and hit save really quick. So Control S, and then go back here, and I'm going to do Control S to save. And then I will just type in xref, enter. And this will pop up, and if you click this arrow, you can actually attach a lot of different things, even an image. We're going to attach a DWG, so click that, and select find your hips file and hit open. Okay, and then we're going to leave all of this the same, and we're going to hit OK. We want to actually, we can use our snapping references actually to do this. So I'm just going to hover over this point and move my mouse down to, oh, never mind, because it's that other point. Okay, so I'm just going to place this in my drawing. So just place it in there. We just inserted this xref, and then I'm going to click on the xref and go to Home, Move, and move it to the right spot. So I'll go click here and click there. Okay, the dimensions are throwing me off, so I'm going to actually click my layers, and I'm going to hide the plot or the hips dimensions there. Okay, perfect. And you can see that this is actually in the correct location now. The reason why we drew this up 25 feet is because this dimension is 25 feet. We wanted the bottom of this building to sit on this line right there. Right. And that is your lab. If you look at the instructions, it tells you to insert or submit the PlotPlan DWG, the hips DWG, and the PlotPlan PDF. Okay, so what I mean by that is you will submit this file with just your hips drawing. You're going to submit this file with the hips and the plot plan. And then you are also going to go to layout 1. Oops, sorry. And there's no viewport, so we're going to go to view, viewport. We'll insert one viewport really quickly. And we are going to, I'm going to change this to model space and center it. Okay, I didn't give a scale specification, so this is fine like that. Just make sure it's centered, it looks good. I'm gonna go back to my paper space. All right, and then I'm gonna go to the export PDF. Should have the same name. and so you will submit that PDF as well. So that is all for the lab.